My wife's work husband accidentally sent me their vacation photos. It was a quiet Sunday morning when I got the email. No subject line, just a zip file named weekend trip. I opened it without thinking. It came from her coworker, Dave, the guy she always joked about being her work husband. They'd been close for years, always texting, always laughing during video calls, even inside jokes I wasn't part of. I trusted her though. She'd earned that, or so I thought. The file opened into dozens of photos. Beach scenes, sunsets, hotel balconies. The first few looked innocent, just colleagues on a company retreat, until I saw one labeled Morning View. It wasn't the ocean, it was my wife, wrapped in a towel, sitting on a hotel bed. Behind her, in the reflection of the mirror, Dave, shirtless, holding the phone. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. I scrolled further. Pictures of them drinking wine on a balcony. Her in a swimsuit, his hand on her waist. Then one of them kissing, clear as daylight. No room for misunderstanding. For a solid minute, I just stared at the screen. My hands were shaking. The sound of the coffee machine filled the silence, like background noise in a nightmare. I wanted to scream, throw my laptop, something, but instead, I copied every file to a hidden folder. I wasn't going to react blindly, not yet. When she came downstairs later, she was humming. "Morning, babe. You okay? You look pale." "Yeah," I said. "Just tired." She kissed me on the cheek and went about her day like nothing was wrong. I played along, pretended everything was fine, but every time she smiled at her phone, my stomach turned. I started noticing things I had ignored before. New perfume, late-night texts, unexplained team dinners. She wasn't even being careful anymore. That night, while she showered, I checked her phone. The password was the same. Their messages were endless. Inside jokes, heart emojis, "can't wait to see you again." The last one hit hard. Feels weird calling it a work trip when it feels more like a honeymoon. I stared at that line until my vision blurred. I realized then, I didn't lose her that day. I'd lost her months ago. When she told me about another work trip, I smiled. "That's great," I said. "You've been working so hard." I booked a day off work, pretending it was for an errand, but it was for her goodbye. When the day came, I told her I'd drive her to the airport. She looked surprised, but agreed. The entire ride, I kept calm, joked, played music, even carried her suitcase like the good husband I'd always been. She hugged me before security and said, "Don't miss me too much." "I won't," I replied. She smiled, waved, and disappeared through the gate. The next morning, I sent an email. One file, one message, to Dave's wife, CC, HR department, attachment, weekendtrip.zip. No text, just evidence. By afternoon, my wife called me 12 times. I ignored everyone. The 13th time I answered. Her voice was trembling. "You ruined my life." I almost laughed. "No," I said calmly. "You just finally got caught living it." Her job called her in for a meeting the next day. Dave didn't show up at work. HR launched an investigation into inappropriate conduct during company-sponsored travel. Word spread fast. By the end of the week, both were no longer with the company. I didn't have to raise my voice or break anything. Karma handled it with quiet precision. 3 days later, she came home with swollen eyes and a suitcase that wouldn't zip. "Can we talk?" she whispered. I looked at her calmly and said, "Sure, but make sure you send the right photos this time." She froze. That's when it hit her. I'd seen everything. I walked past her, out the door, and didn't look back. That night, I opened the same folder one last time, selected everything, and hit delete. Then I sat outside on the porch watching the sunset and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Sometimes revenge doesn't need shouting or chaos. It just needs the truth delivered to the right inbox. And this time, the delivery was perfect.